Welcome to the Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Today, friends, we have another exciting guest on our podcast. His name is James Carroll, and he's with an alternative party called the Benjamin Franklin Party. He's going to talk to us about what this party represents, what it stands for, and the good views it has. So welcome to the podcast, James.
Hi, Andrew. Thank you.
James, if we could get started by you kindly giving us an introduction to yourself, a brief biographical sketch.
Sure, yeah. I actually come from an IT background, not so much a political background, except of late. I started my IT career back in the 90s when distributed computing first got underway, and I started at a help desk at a company called Career Track in Boulder, Colorado, and I worked my way up through the ranks over the years, and eventually ended up being vice president of IT operations at a large Midwestern company that does big data. And I had kind of at that point reached the top of my game, and I was considering what to do next. And I thought, I could do more of the same in IT, or I could try to crack into the C-suite or something like that. But I really got to thinking about it, and I decided I wanted to do something more, wanted to aim a little bit higher, wanted to do something, more for the greater good, and kind of give back some of the good that I felt that I had received growing up here in the United States. And, I certainly have appreciated the our institutions and the systems that we've had, and wanted to help support that and improve that where possible. So, so that's my background. I decided to pivot from IT into something seemingly different, politics. But I thought, and others that I talked with, we kind of thought that we could do better with politics, and so that we had what we felt like is an innovative idea, and just decided to pursue that. So that's kind of how I made the change, the transition from IT to politics, and I guess that's my background. A little surprising, some people might find, to go from corporate IT into politics. But, again, I was kind of at an inflection point, kind of at a point where I wanted to, pivot, maybe try something different for my next chapter, and do something kind of for the greater good.
Oh, sure. That's a great way to be. That's a great story. So since you did get a lot of promotions, what would you say is a tip you can give for people who want to get promotions?
What is a what for people who want to get promotions?
A tip.
Oh, a tip. Oh, yeah. Well, what I would say, the advice that I've given, and something that I kind of stumbled on, I think, unwittingly early on myself, is to always perform at the next level. So whatever position it is that you aspire to, start acting in that capacity today. Don't wait. Don't wait until you get promoted to start acting at that level of performance, because when it comes time to fill a position and to do promotion, what management's going to do is look around and see they'll recognize who's already doing it, and so it becomes an easy decision to make on who to promote. So that's what's really worked for me, and that's advice I give to others.
Sounds good. So please tell us more about the Benjamin Franklin Party. What are its planks? What are its philosophies? What does it stand for?
Sure. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So with the Franklin Party, the Benjamin Franklin Party, we call it the Franklin Party for short also, how we are different is that we are not, like most of the political parties, we are not ideology based.
Okay.
So, yeah, we are, more process-based, or we're evidence-based is what we say. So for any given, problem or opportunity that we want to look at, as a policy area, we take a look at what has been tried, locally, nationally, internationally, across time. What's been tried in that particular area and how it's gone, right? So what things have worked well, what things haven't worked well, and why in both cases. And then we also take a look to see, how those previous experiments, how that previous experience, how well it matches the current situation, and see if there's any tailoring that needs to be done in order to understand how those past results might apply to the present situation. But we're completely evidence-based. We're not we're not conservative. We're not liberal. For any given problem or opportunity, we take a look at what's been done and how it's turned out. And if we think that what we're doing right now it turns out to be the best thing, like there really are currently no other better promising avenues, then those are the types of things that we would say, well, we should then conserve what we are doing. So in cases like that, we would, you could say that we are conservative because we would recommend conserving what we're doing. In other cases where we find or we believe that we can do better based upon evidence, based upon, things other people have tried, then those are areas where we would say that we would like to make progress or be progressive. So I realize I'm using those terms a little bit differently than how they're used in
Sure.
current political parlance, but that's basically the idea. We're really neither liberal nor conservative. It really just depends upon whatever the challenge or opportunity is in front of us, and what's been tried and what we've learned, and what that evidence suggests to us is a path forward, or again staying with the status quo if that really is the best.
So where does Ben Franklin fit in? I remember reading his autobiography that he liked to, when he made a decision, he made a line in the middle of the paper, one positive, one negative, and he did what was the most positive. Is that where the name comes from, because you want to do evidence-based things, or where does the name come from?
Yeah, that is a great question. So, Benjamin Franklin, he really personifies kind of the intersection that we want to operate from, because he was, of course, not only a man of science, so, evidence-based, but he was also a diplomat. So he, valued civility and in fact embodied it, lived it. And we think that is also quite important, civility, and something that is unfortunately, in short supply in our current body politic. And then also he was a business person. So, he really kind of occupied a sweet spot, we think, that is a great position to operate from, and that's why we chose him for our namesake.
Okay, great. Yeah, that sounds good. You're right about him. He did have those three things that, the way that they described in the foreword, I believe, of the autobiography I read, was he did way more than any people did of his time. So he had a very rich life. So
Yep.
he did have a lot of different things he brought into his life. He said business, diplomacy, and
Yep.
science. So it's hard to balance all those things.
Absolutely. He lived a very full life. I mean, he obviously lived much longer than most people even lived back then. He lived into his early 80s. And, most people back then died in their 30s. So, he had a very, long life in that regard. But yeah, he started off as a business person, and then he transitioned to, a diplomat and a patriot and, a founding father, of the country. So he, and then also in between, sorry, I kind of skipped over a part. He was, a man of science. He also was, literally world renowned for, his work with electricity. So, anyway, he really did have a very full life.
So given this, how does your party approach issues? Do you have issues in your platform, or do you leave that up to each individual to use those things on their own to decide it, or is there such thing as a policy for the group?
Right. So right now, at the moment, what we're mostly articulating is our process. What we do expect, and we're not there yet, though, is to use the process that I previously mentioned to kind of put together a platform of what certain policy positions might be based upon current best available evidence, right? The weight of current evidence. So right now we're, for the most part, actually just articulating the process that we would use to get to those policy positions. And there's a couple other things about it I should also mention too, by the way, which is some of the other things that we think are important from a scientific perspective is to be amenable to changes in our position as we learn more things, because that is what happens, with science as we get, more evidence and better understanding of the world. Certainly our positions could and should change if our understanding of things, also changes. For the most part, science doesn't have radical shifts in its understanding of things. It's mostly refinements over time. But another thing that we think is important is to also talk about levels of confidence in whatever our findings are. So, if we think that a particular policy position is the right way to go, we may only have, based upon available evidence, we may only have like 65% confidence that it's the right thing to do, but it's enough, to proceed with, as an example. And then we also think it's very important to be fully transparent every step of the way in the process and in policy creation, to be inclusive, to hear all points of view. This is what science does as well, right? And then thirdly, to really do a good job of communicating what not only the process but also the findings. Do a good job of communicating the findings. On the order of what like Neil deGrasse Tyson is very good at. Neil deGrasse Tyson is very good at explaining very complex things like astrophysics in ways that people that are not astrophysicists can understand. And Carl Sagan was the same. So we think that is also very important, is to be able to explain in easy and understandable language, what's being proposed and why.
Okay. Here's a question. So Ben Franklin himself, from what I understood, he was famously quoted as saying such that he believed the best form of government was a Republican form of government with a small r. So do you believe that the evidence that we've had since then, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened since his day, all concludes that the Republican form of government is the best form of government?
Yeah, I mean, Franklin famously said, a republic if you can keep it. And, republic comes from the Latin res publica, which means a public affair, a public matter. And so we believe that that's the realm and domain of government. The proper domain of government is public things, right? Public domain things. And that government ought not to, infringe upon things that would be, again, going back to the Latin, res privata, right? So private affairs, private things. And so, I think that, government has certainly gone back and forth, maybe on a little bit on a pendulum, in how much involvement it has in Americans' day-to-day lives. But we think that it should be involved in large and commonwealth type things. So like national defense and interstate highways and, and sewer systems and bridges and police departments and, and the like, that these are, good and proper uses of government. But it should, stay out of things which, really are private affairs. And, some of the, recent cultural war type things that we've seen as a society, I think, certainly fall into that camp. Such as, the government should, definitely make sure everybody's being, treated fairly, nobody's being discriminated against and such, but really should not be wading into the waters of, what gender pronouns, for example, somebody wants to be called and whether that's appropriate or not. That's really not the realm of government. That's not what government, the main purpose of government. And it certainly would be completely foreign, I think, to not only Benjamin Franklin, but all of the founding fathers, that type of intrusion.
Okay. Sounds good. So it sounds like what you're mentioning, the things that the government should do, is also what the Constitution permits and enables the government to do. Yeah,
absolutely. We do see the Constitution as a circumscribing document, the ultimate law of the land, as it were. And, which is not to say that it itself, can't be changed. It has been, 27 times. But yes, we do believe in what's put forth in the Constitution is foundational to our system of government.
Sure, and some would say that the way we approach the Constitution has been like science, where, unlike religion, where they're not going to change their holy books, but we're going to change the Constitution when we find evidence that things are not the way they should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that is what, one of our founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, he definitely believed, in that. I actually, let me see if I can pull it up here real quick. Yeah, here it is. If you're up for it, I've got a quote from him, from Jefferson. It is. He says, "I am not an advocate for frequent changes in laws and constitutions, but laws and institutions must go hand in hand with the progress of the human mind. As that becomes more developed, more enlightened, as new discoveries are made, new truths discovered, and manners and opinions change, with the change of circumstances, institutions must advance also to keep pace with the times. We might as well require a man to wear still the coat which fitted him when a boy, as a civilized society to remain ever under the regime of their barbarous ancestors." So you can see that, Thomas Jefferson himself definitely thought that the laws in the Constitution should change as we learn more, as we get better and better knowledge.
Sure, yes. That is a new quote for me. I'd like to hear that, so that's good. So I appreciate you giving us something new. I never heard that one before.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said something similar in the Declaration of Independence, that government should not be changed for light or transient causes.
Right.
So we do want to change them, but not with every shift of mood that people have.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So what type of activities has the Benjamin Franklin Party done so far?
Well, right now we're in the formation stages, and so we're just working now after we kind of put a pause on things until the 2024 general election concluded, because it seemed that folks we talked to saw that as kind of an existential crisis, and they weren't really willing to entertain the idea of a new political party when they felt that so much was on the line in 2024 and wanted to focus there. So anyway, so we are just now really embarking upon party building, and our goal is to have a national footprint, a national network by the country's semi-quincentennial, which is coming up on July 4th, 2026. So that is our goal, to do party building between now and then.
Okay, since sequential. So that, because we started in 1776. So
Yep.
that would be
250 years.
250 years, wow.
Yeah, the semi-quincentennial. So, means, which is like saying half of 500, right? Semi-quincentennial.
Yeah, wow. Wow. Okay, so
It's a
it looks
mouthful.
like, yeah. So that's coming in, you said 25 or 26?
26. So,
Okay.
July 4th of 2026.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So, okay, wow. So I trust we'll still be around then, and we'll still have some constitutional form of government. So when that happens, that'll be a major accomplishment.
Absolutely.
Great. So some local areas, from what I understood in the past, they do celebrations. Is there going to be anything in your area for celebrations?
Yeah, I'm sure there will, although I think that probably as a party we would join celebrations like, for instance, in Philadelphia, right? My expectation is that we would be someplace like that.
Okay, so you probably will travel to Philadelphia then.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great.
That's our current thinking, yeah.
Have you been there before?
I've been through there before.
Okay.
But not a stay of any duration.
Okay, I was there about 25 years ago. It's an interesting city for sure. Yeah, yep. It was good.
I have been to Boston, which is Franklin's birthplace. In fact, we were there for his birthday, January 17th of 2024. We were there, and we marked the day by walking the Freedom Trail. So.
Oh wow, what's the Freedom Trail exactly? I'm sorry for my ignorance.
It's a trail in Boston that if you follow it, it hits many of the Revolutionary War landmarks, in Boston, like, Bunker Hill is an example, right? And, interestingly, one of the stops, on, the Freedom Trail isn't Benjamin Franklin's birthplace, but, Benjamin Franklin's birthplace is only about a block or so off of the Freedom Trail. But it was surprising to us that it wasn't part of the Freedom Trail.
Yeah.
So it's by the, I might get this wrong, but the Old Taunton Church, I believe it's called. It's right by there. In fact, it's right behind there on Milk Street, is where he was born. And, interestingly, there really isn't much, like a plaque or anything. There's between the first and second floors of the building that's there now, there is, I guess like an emblem of Franklin's head, and it mentions that it's his birthplace, but not like one would expect. I think it's an area that where the city of Boston could actually do something better for one of their native sons.
Exactly, yeah. Good point, yeah. Well, that's interesting. So I'm learning new stuff from you tonight, so that's good. And I trust our audiences as well. So, James,
lots of interesting. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, you can go ahead. I can say it in a minute.
I was just going to say there is, when you dig into American history and particularly the Revolutionary period, there is lots of interesting things to learn.
Oh, sure, for sure. So, James, how can our audience support the Benjamin Franklin Party?
Well, you can, if you would like, go to our website, which is franklinparty.us, and you can sign up for our newsletter. And we are also on all of the social medias at Franklin Party US. So no dot with that, just Franklin Party US, all run together. We're on TikTok and X and Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube and Threads and Blue Sky and probably one I'm not thinking of. So
Wow, everything.
we're on a lot of the platforms.
That's impressive. Not everyone has the bandwidth to do that. That's impressive.
Well, it's a situation where, nowadays you can actually make a piece of content and then broadcast it out to the different platforms. So, I would say just engage in, whichever platform, you prefer, right? So you don't have to, you follow us on all of them, because the content, that gets pushed out is very similar.
Okay, great. James, thank you for going on the podcast today. We appreciate hearing about your party and the exciting things you're doing.
Yeah, well, thank you, Andrew, and thank you for the service that you provide with this podcast of letting people know about the alternative parties that are out there. Unfortunately, alternative parties don't get much recognition, certainly by traditional media. So it really is a fantastic service that you're providing. So thank you.
Sure, I appreciate that compliment. Thank you very much. All right, we wish you all the best in everything you do in your personal and professional life, and of course with the Benjamin Franklin Party.
All right, thank you, Andrew.
Bye now.